Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Paul, and we're going to be going over the classic counterplay on a bunch of different things. So he's got sway setups, he has mid-high strings, he's got, setups for it being in your face, setups for further away. So the basic shit that we're going to start with is like the sway setups. So these moves, down forward one into something. As you see here, this is almost like he hits you with a move that puts him into stance. Back sways are not considered stances. Neither are crouch dashes. Otherwise, you'd have to consider like crouching or sidestepping a stance as well. So crouch dashing and back sways, can't really consider those stances. They're more states of play in the game. Your opponent is crouching status, he's sidestepping, he's grounded, he's standing, he's jumping or airborne in this case. Whatever the fuck. Those are states. Swaying is also part of that. But it's almost like a stance in a sense, because he is hitting you with a move that's plus on block, and then he's taking those plus frames, and he's taking his turn by doing a follow-up, whatever that follow-up may be, right? In this case, he's doing his 5 options from sway after his down forward one. And he's doing like a pretty much a medium sway here, not an immediate sway, not a mini sway. He's doing a medium sway. So the counterplay I'm about to show you will apply to the mini sway as well as the medium sway that I just put in. We'll go into a super delayed sway in a little bit here, but for the most part, for now, we're just going to tackle the medium sway. So the counterplay here is pretty awesome in the sense that you've got sidestep right duck to beat out everything. So you got the homing move. You got sway one. That one's a little more, little tricky to deal with. So what you want to do here to make sure that you don't get hit by the low string here is really commit to the duck. See what he's going to do, and then you can fuzzy guard low and potentially launch him for both these moves that he does after that 3-hit string. But there you go. Sidestep right duck is beating out all this shit. So sidestep right duck beats out all those options that you just saw there, right? All 5 options that he's got. But he does have a couple options to circumvent your counterplay. So he's got a couple things that are pretty fucking good for beating out sidestep right duck. Down forward 1 into immediate down forward 1, and down forward 1 into forward is, they're both great options, because sidestep right duck loses to both of these. So this is basically counterplay for Paul to beat out your counterplay. Alright, so it's layer 3 shit. His layer 1 offense, your layer 2 defense, his layer 3 offense. This is layer 3 shit. So you need to keep that in mind. He does have options to beat out your shit. When you go to sidestep right duck him, but it's not that scary. You got a heat engager and a poke. He has other options too, but really those are the 2 scary ones, and those are the most common ones that you will run into. But that's essentially how you beat out his sway options when he's doing either a medium sway or a mini sway. Now let's see what he can do when he really delays the sway and then goes for the moves after that. What you can do here is, if he's delaying the sways and you see that he's delaying them, you can backdash and pretty much beat out everything. A single backdash when the sway is at its fullest, and you can actually get a full launch here. You can also counter it interrupt when he's doing certain strings. So there you go. Yeah, you can beat out every single option with a single backdash if he does the full sway. So there is that. And even if he does the follow-ups that can potentially beat out your backdash, you can still whip punish him. As you saw there, this shit is beatable by doing backdashes or sidestep right into duck, depending on how delayed he delays the sway. So just keep in mind that, and as long as you're observing your opponent and recognizing the patterns, oh, is he doing a mini sway or a medium sway? Then sidestep right duck all his options. Is he doing a full sway and getting all that distance and then going for the move? Okay, well then in that case I can just backdash or hold block and then wait for the move to whiff and launch him there. So you have tons of options to deal with this shit. There's really not a big deal when it comes to the sway options. Let's move on to the shoulder setups. These are fucking annoying, so let's see what he's got. So the shoulder setups for Paul are always annoying. People love fucking using this shit in the open, right? This is a classic shit setup for Paul. Forward 2 into forward 1 plus 4 is one shoulder. That's the evasive one. Evasive horizontally, whereas the other shoulder is evasive vertically. That one, that crushes jabs. So say I try to jab check here. You know, you just forward 2, forward 2, and I try to do a jab check, and I get fucked up by the shoulders. It's frustrating for a lot of players. So what you want to do here is take note of the frame data. Obviously, forward 2 is the heat engager, 13 frame heat engager for Paul. Really fucking good move, even launches in heat. But it's -5 on block. So -5 on block means that I can safely try to interrupt with a big move like that. Like a down forward 2. Because that move then becomes 9 frames fast, right? If he's -5 and I do a 14 frame mid, doesn't matter what he does. He can try to even jab check after this. I still will beat him out with my down forward 2. If you have a down forward 1 mid with some extensions or something, go for that. Because this shit will beat his ass every time. You can also choose to just bait it out and block, right? So if you know that he's going to go for these classic setups, because they're always one into the other, and you've seen it so many times, you can just block this shit. So the shoulder that's the horizontal evasive one is, which is forward 1 plus 4, that's -14 on block, as you see there. And the one that's a vertical evasive one that beats out jabs is -18 on block. So it's a full launch from the entire cast. So let's see what we can do here. If I block that, it's -14, I get my punish. My 13 frame punish. So you can get a big punish for dealing with those fucking shoulders. Just make sure you know the frame data and you recognize which one is which. The fast one, -18. The one that moves him out of the way horizontally into the background and then shoulders you that way, that's -14. So get your heat engager punish there. So, that's one shoulder setup with forward 2. The exact same concept applies to the following setups. We'll go over all those now. So 2-3 into shoulder. Down forward 4 into shoulder, which is that knee there. Both of them, they all do the same shit. Forward 2-1 just frame into shoulder. Very classic setup as well. Note the frame data, right? So forward 2 is -5. Forward 2-1 just frame is -4. Down forward 4 and 2-3 are both -2. So he's not exactly, it's not his turn, but he's using evasive tools at minus frames. Not super minus, just minus enough to where those tools are the most effective they can be. So in this sense, if you see him do like a 4-4-2-1, I would recommend a 13 frame mid to counter and interrupt this bitch. Then you got, especially if you're Kazuya, you can absolutely try to go for a down forward 2 here, and you will pretty much win every time. In that sense, you won't, because he's only -2, so it trades with your down forward 2. But there, he's -4, so it doesn't trade. It beats out your down forward 2 beats him out. So, just to make it safe for yourself, I recommend a 13 frame mid to interrupt all these moves. Yeah, I'm going to go for my down forward 4 here because it'll track his shoulder on both directions. And it'll interrupt anything he tries to do. So he tracks the shoulder. So Paul cannot evade my down forward 4 with his shoulder. So try to go for a fast either 12 frame, 13 frame mid of your choice and interrupt this nonsense. But again, you can always just circumvent this setup by just blocking and taking a good punish, right? Now I'm in his face and I'm in heat and now he's fucked. You know, like it's always good to be patient against Paul. So that's one way to beat those setups. I hope that helps with that shit. Let's go over some other setups that can be pretty annoying in the neutral too. Up forward 2. So on one hand, he likes to do up forward 2 and a down forward 2. You can sidestep right. This approach that Paul players love to do because up forward 2 is +5 on block. But then he can catch you with Demo Man if you step either direction. So that's scary. And he can also catch you, if you sidestep right, with his back 3, which is a 14-frame launcher. So he has a sweeping low. You can't step him to the right or to the left because of the low. You can't step him right because of back 3. And you can't step him left because of down forward 2. Down forward 2 will catch your sidestep left, as you saw there. So, there is no sidestepping this approach, and trying to interrupt this one is almost never a good idea because back 3 will catch your ass every time. 14 frames fast, which means it's 1 frame faster than your jab at that point because you're -5. So, what you're going to do here is backdash. A simple backdash, then take your turn. That avoids the clean hit scenario from the Demo Man, so you will eat a little bit of damage from the Demo Man, but at least it puts you into safety, and then you can get your long-range punish once the Demo Man is over. Demo Man's -17 on block, that third hit there. The second hit is -14, so depending on what he finishes with, you can get a heat engager pretty much guaranteed every time. One backdash will beat out back 3, and it'll make you block his down forward 2. And then you can at least take your turn back with an electric or something that's strong that'll, ensure that you can keep up some pressure. But at back 3, outright loses to 1 backdash because it's got no real range. You just get an immediate back 3 into a backdash and take your turn, and you can get even a whip punish here. Up forward 2, really strong pressure tool for Paul, so it's always good to know how to deal with the main follow-ups he likes to do. He wants to launch you with his best tools, or he wants to do a low. So launching mids or fucking power lows. Avoid them both with a single backdash. Paul hates it when you're at, like, this range. He wants to be here on you. Paul wants to be glued to your face. This range, Paul is not really able to do all his best tools. Even his down forward 2 will whiff from this range. So stay at this range from Paul, and you'll control the majority of the match. Don't let him get in on you. Use your best keep out tools to keep the Paul out. So that's how you deal with that setup. Now let's try a couple of setups for the down forward 2, which can be annoying for a lot of players. So very common setups for down forward 2 are QCB2 and QCF1. You can backdash these options here, but a lot of the time players will love to jab check here, right? These setups are annoying because they will guaranteed beat out every single jab in the game no matter what. Okay, Kazu's got a terrible jab, but I could be Dragunov right here, and I could still and throw a jab, and I'll still lose the scenario. This is a very classic setup for Paul, because as we all know, the down forward 2 that he has does not high crush, but it sways him to the right a little bit, and goes completely, it like goes under and to the right, and then it sways, and then he connects with an uppercut, right? We lab that, and we put out videos for that, so if you want evidence of that, check out my jab video on who has the best jab in the game, or how strong is your character's jab. I think that's what the video title is. It's like 3 videos down in my main channel, so just check that shit out. Also, that's how we know that the horizontal jabs hitboxes are bad with certain characters, because they'll lose to Paul's down forward 2 after, like, they block a jab or something. We did this test in that video I just mentioned. But in this sense, he's at minus frames, and he's got more pushback to deal with. Like, you're pushed quite far back, which obscures the frame data even more. There's a lot more complexity that gets involved. No matter what, his down forward 2 is going to beat your ass every time. Especially if you mash it right away. It's just going to fucking kill you. He has another setup with down forward 2 that's just straight up down forward 2 and a down forward 2. And if you don't time your jab immediately, you need to jab immediately after this, right? Otherwise, he's gonna fuck you up. Like that. So it is a setup. It will beat out your jab if you're late. This shouldn't technically work, because Paul is not high crushing your jab, and Kazuya's horizontal hitbox is pretty good with his jab, all things considered. But it does work because of where Paul happens to be when my jab's hitbox actually connects at the very end, the tip of the jab. So Paul's down forward 2 sways him just enough out of the way that he'll avoid every single jab in the game, again, with this setup, if you're late with your jab. But then you also have to worry about the other setups he's got. You try to jab those out right, you will lose every time. going to fuck you up for it. So you have to know what he's doing by observing what the Paul just did, and then try not to just jab check every option he has. Try backdashing and try sidestepping instead. You'll be far better off. So this is one I get asked about quite a bit, is the back 2-1 Oki setup with Paul after a combo. So he'll tornado you, then he's going to spike you or bound you with that shit, and then of course he's got this horse shit. Back 2-1, fully charged, guard break. Right? Pretty stupid. It's a heat move for Paul. I don't know why he has this, but if you stay on the ground, it hits grounded. If you try to side roll, you will eat shit, because your side roll will not connect in time, because the first hit of that string spikes you. Flips you over and spikes you, so you can't even side roll out of the way. What happens if you get up by holding back? I'm sure everybody has seen this before, and then you get fucked up, right? So, I'm in the air, I get comboed, Paul gets himself into heat. I have to get up into immediate jab. That's the only way to beat this setup. You gotta jab check this dumbass. Staying on the ground won't work. You can potentially backdash this setup as well, depending on your character. Kazuya can't really do it consistently. But this setup can be backdashed if you're at the right amount of range. Typically, the combo needs to be a bit longer so that he sends you a little bit further away with that back 2 initial hit, and then you can backdash out of the way. In a short combo like this, backdashing out of the way is a bit trickier to do. So, just note that it can be backdashed, and that applies to the medium charge. This shit here. That's minus 12 on block, and you can get your punish. There you go. Minus 12 on block. If they medium charge it, or they just let it rip, this is always minus 12 on block. If he charges it all the way up, it's a guard break, and then he gets a guaranteed shoulder afterwards, or a back 1-2 or something. So you have to be careful. But after the end of a combo, if he sets this up like this, you can always backdash both options with most characters. Otherwise, the best option, in my opinion, because they're always going to go for this shit. They're always just going to charge it to the max, because everybody wants that guard break. Get up into immediate jab mash. That's the counterplay to that scenario. Very annoying. Guard breaks shouldn't even be in the game. I think they should delete all that shit. I hope Season 3 does. So if you're watching this in Season 3 and guard breaks are no longer a thing, fuck yeah, they fixed the game, pretty much. I'm sure that this setup probably still gets used in some way, form, or another. Like, they probably have it on, like, plus frames on block or something. In which case, blocking isn't the worst thing in the world, but also backdashing is a great option in that case as well. If he does a medium charge and you immediately jab him, then you get counter hit launched, by the second hit. Yeah, that's right. So that's why it's always better just to observe the Paul first, see how he likes to approach. Does he like to do the guard break? Most of them do, so you're pretty safe just jab checking. But if you jab check and he didn't charge it all the way, and you will get counter hit launched by the second hit, true. So if you're not sure and you want to play it safe, that's why backdashing is probably the best option there. Backdash, block, see what he's going to do. If it finishes the string and it's fully charged, there's a good chance you'll evade it and then you can launch punish his ass. Or backdash, block, and if he medium charges it and you block it, he's minus 12 anyway, so you still get a good punish. So now some common neutral tools that are just mid-high strings that Pauls always do. Low-level Paul players will do this shit lots. 3-2 is a very common string. While standing 3-2 is very common. These are good strings, for the most part, right? If you're not ducking them. So make sure you fucking duck this shit. There's no reason for you to ever be just blocking these like a dumbass. Especially 4-4-2-1 just frame. Everyone's going to use that. Hardly anybody uses the non-just frame version. We'll talk more about the 4-4-2 strings in a minute, because that shit is very tricky to deal with. But just these 4 strings that Paul has, classic fucking strings. Make sure you're ducking this shit. Get a launch every time. It's not hard. So there you go. Those high strings, 3-2, 4-4-2-1 just frame, while standing 3-2, down forward 1-1-2. Those 4 strings are tons of Paul players at all ranks are going to use those strings. Maybe not 3-3-2 because it is a terrible string. Most players will not use that are good Pauls, but there are bad Paul players that use that shit. So just duck that shit, launch him, and he's dead. You're good. Now I want to go over some neutral tools with Paul. He's got a couple neutral tools that are pretty important to address, I think. including shit like forward, forward, 2-1. So let's go over that shit real quick. So he's got multiple extensions from forward, forward, 2. He can do forward, forward, 2-1 just frame, which is the blue sparks, and then forward, forward, 2-1 normal, which is just mashing forward, forward, 2-1, no timing required. One is -4 on block, but it's a mid-high. One is -12 on block, mid-mid. You can beat both these options out with one simple counterplay. Just a fuzzy duck. Fuzzy duck immediately. And get your jab punish. Just a very, very quick duck, because you see the frame difference there, right? That second punch is 15 frames to impact for the just frame. 15 frames, that second punch. With the mid, it's 26 frames to impact. That's second, so that's an 11 frame discrepancy. That's a huge amount of time. You have a ton of fucking time that's very lenient to fuzzy guard the high and then stand back up in enough time to then block the mid and account for the mid in case he goes for that. So no matter what option he's going for between these two, a fuzzy guard will always win. There you go. So just make sure as soon as you see that first elbow connect, duck really quick, stand back up, block the mid, get your punish. Either way, you're evading the high, it will not connect at all, or you're blocking the mid and you get a punish after that. The tricky part is when they add in the low. What we can do here is you can still fuzzy guard, and then you can low parry. This is a stupid fucking type of counterplay, but this actually works. By throwing the other options here after Paul throws in the low, we can then try to do a fuzzy guard after the elbow, and then try to parry the low. This is very tricky. This is a lot harder than people think. So, very, very tricky setup here. There's a lot of mental stack going on. If you don't even want to think about this crap, then just hold block until you see the low come out. And then low parry the low. Because you cannot launch punish this if you block it. The low is it sends you too far away. You can't actually launch punish that. See, you're too far away to be able to launch punish it. So the only option you have with that low is to low parry. Fuzzy guard, or fuzzy duck, to cover the high and the mid, and then you see the low coming, it's the slowest option, then you immediately go into a low parry. It's fucked up, but that's literally to cover all bases of this string. You've beaten this entire fucking string if you're able to do this. There's nothing Paul can do with a 4-4 string in this final. You can try to sidewalk this string left. The mid can catch you often, but you're able to do that. So there's also that. You try to sidewalk, you get an automatic fuzzy guard, as a chat member recently pointed out. You can sidewalk left all these options if you time it perfectly. The just frame is tricky because the fuzzy guard option that the sidewalking left animation does, that automatically does it, is tricky to time. But you can do it. The mid is tricky to sidewalk left, but you can do that as well. Depends on what character you're using. Kazuya is not a good example for that because this movement sucks, so you might not be able to do it with Kazuya. But I would still recommend trying to do the counterplay that I suggested, is the fuzzy guard type. The next up is QCF3. This is -14 on block. You can sidewalk it to the right. To the left it doesn't work. It'll always clip you, but it is neutral on hit, so it's a damn good move, and it is a high crush. You cannot. Paul is completely invulnerable to highs and is in this state. So you have to either interrupt him, sidewalk it to the right, which is tricky, depending on the range, or you can just block and do some type of -13, -14 punish. Some characters can even launch it. So, damn good low for Paul, but definitely a doable move that you can deal with. Obviously, the best neutral tool that a lot of people are familiar with Paul is the Dev Fist, -17 on block, so hard to punish, even with decent long-range mids. You don't really get a punish for this. You can get an electric here if you're really fucking on point. So as you see there, the electric can work, but it's fucking hard to time that, right? You have to know exactly when the recovery frames start happening for Paul so that you can input your forward so that you can put the rest of the inputs for the electric, because you can't buffer electrics. We all know this. So very, 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 very fucking hard to electric, and if he hits it at tip range and you block it, you do not even get an electric punish anyways, because even if you time it perfectly, it'll whiff. So the best way to deal with this move, with Death Fist, is just get your long-range punish. Every character in the game has at least one long-range punish. So, because you see that frame data there, Paul's Death Fist minus 17 on block. So is Kazuya's back 4 minus 17 frames to impact, right? Heihachi would Iron Hand this, Devil Jin would up forward 3+4, Armor King would shoulder or forward 2-1. You know, you got a whole bunch of fucking options with a whole bunch of different characters. You have to find your character's long-range punish and go with that, right? Everyone's got one. Back 4 for Paul is, funny enough, I just kind of learned this stream. This is a Kazuya move, as you see here, right? Pretty much the same fucking move, because it's, it does almost the exact same shit. The only difference is Kazuya's does 4 more damage. But that's it. And it has a little bit more range. Like my stature kick here with down back 4 has about 0.3, 0.4 more range. Very, very, very small. Not even 0.3, 0.4, sorry. 0.03, 0.04 range. Like Paul's back 4 against Kazuya hits at like range 2.58. And then Kazuya's down back 4 against Paul hits at range like 2.63, 2.62. Something like that. So they're both very, very similar. They got a fuck ton of range. They're both 20 frames to impact. They're both minus 12 on block. They both track very well to both sides. They're both +4 on hit. And they both have great range. And they're both +17 on counter hit. There is almost no fucking difference between my stature kick here. It's even 20 frames to impact. Same with Paul's back 4. Same exact frame data. And they both flip over on the ground. Look at that. It flips Kazuya over. On the ground. Really fucking good move. Amazing Oki opportunity at the wall with that. And Kazuya does the same shit. Very, very solid move. But it is minus 12 on block. So you do get your punish. And you can sidewalk it to the right if you time it just right and you're in his face when he goes to do it. Otherwise, it tracks pretty well to both sides. And you can't really step in either direction. As long as you're within the move's range, you can't really step it all that well. Sidewalk right is really the only option to step this, but block it, get your 11 frame, 12 frame punish. But it's probably, I would say that's probably Paul's best low. It's amazing. So, next up we got sidestep 3, which is another fantastic low. +4 on hit, comes out of a sidestep, you can mix it up with down forward 2. And it's again minus 12 on block. So if you think he's going to go for this, I'd recommend a low parry here. But either way, you can get your 12 frame punish. Okay, so sidestep 3, pretty annoying move, but damn good once you know how to deal with it. This move, forward 4, it's just the somersault. Launches on normal hit. Paul can get it while standing 3 there. Or while standing 4, whatever. It is +2 on block, so it is Paul's turn, even if you block this. But it's pretty easy to deal with. You just do a tiny little sidestep either direction. And he's fucked. Right, so you can deal with that way, or you can jab float him out of it. You know, there's always that. So, just be careful. You know, don't overstep your your positioning here. So just make sure you know he's gonna go for the fucking forward 4 before you try to interrupt with a jab. Because if he goes for something else, you can get fucked up for it. But yeah, deal with that move that way. Very linear. Don't press buttons after you block it, and try to jab interrupt if you get a hard read on it. Pretty simple. Next up, we got Hammer of the Gods. Forward 1+2 is, I'd say, his best pressure tool, probably. Really fucking good move. You can sidestep this one to the right, though. If you time it right. Sidewalk it right anyways. I don't think sidestep right will work. Yeah, sidestep right doesn't work. Sidewalk right works, though. So you want to sidewalk it to the right, get your electric, or whatever launcher you have with your character, and away you go. Okay, Hammer of the Gods, pretty damn good move to deal with. Sidewalk left is not really, you can't deal with the move that way. Doesn't really work. Tracks a lot more to sidewalk left than you think. As you saw there, I got hit by a fuck ton. So, careful of that one. One of his best pressure tools, but also quite slow, so you can't interrupt it, right? Got a lot of, it's what is it? Fucking 21 frames to impact. So it's a slow move. In a colloquial sense, not that fucking slow. 21 frames is not that bad, but it's still a really, you know, it's susceptible to counter hit. So just like something like this with Kazuya, or something like this, you know, Hell Sweep, Patricide, all those moves are susceptible to counter hit. Paul's Hammer of the Gods is no different, but it is a great move, so you need to have the proper counterplay in mind. Sidewalking it right is fantastic. Next up, we have Paul's classic homing move. Natural combo. 16 frames to impact. Amazing homing move. And if you try to do the classic Paul sidestep right duck, counterplay, you have to be very quick before the second hit comes out. But yeah, sidestep right duck in Paul's face will pretty much beat out everything he's got. So you got to be very quick with your sidestep rights into duck. Fantastic counterplay versus Paul in his face. And then at this range, you kind of want to sidewalk Paul right? Because at this range, his fucking homing moves whiff. As you saw there, right? If you're at a specific range. You want to note that range down. The range in which his homing moves whiff, we're talking range 3. And then you get your jab punish if you block this bitch. The range 3, stay at that range, try to keep Paul at bay. You should be good to go. Minus 10 on block is that string, so make sure you jab punish it if you do block it. But it's an amazing homing move for Paul, and definitely worth watching out for. Next up, you have his ultimate tackle, ultimate punishment. This is some bullshit. You can break this with pressing 1. So he's going to tackle you, and then you're going to mash 1 so that he doesn't even get that first punch up on you. Very fucking annoying. Such a damaging tackle. Because look at this fucking damage. Say I mash 2 here. I'm just fucked now at this point. 50 damage. It's crazy how much damage that does. So mash 1. Try to get out of this shit before he even does anything. And if he does the arm break in the tackle, then mash 1 plus 2. But either way, mashing 1 is probably the best bet because it'll beat out one of the punches if he tries to punch you on the floor, or the ultimate tackle. So I'm mashing 1 all day against Paul. A smart Paul will tackle you and then immediately go for a 1 plus 2 arm break because he's going to know that most players are going to want to get out of ultimate punishment, and that's a 1 break. So hopefully that helps people deal with that shit, because I know ultimate punishment is very annoying and a lot of people get fucked up by it. Last couple of things I want to talk about is his down 1 strings. So he's got 2 strings here. He's got 2 follow-ups with down 1s. He's got down 1, 2, and he's got the down 1 Demo Man. Okay? Down 1 Demo Man is like a classic round ender. And then the down 1, 2 is a tricky move because you don't really get a punish for it either. So what's the best option here? It's a fuzzy guard. You're gonna beat the low because the low comes out pretty much right away. The punch, the 2 from down 1 2 is 30 frames to impact. The kick, on the other hand, from down 1 4, see 30 frames of that punch, the death fist punch at the end there. The kick is 19 frames. So again, another 11 frame discrepancy. So tons of time you have to visually confirm that you just did a down 1 hammer fist. And now you can fuzzy guard, low, stand up, and account for both options. Get your punish. Again, remember moves like Death Fist are minus 17, so you want to punish it with your long range punish. So, you know, you see what I mean there. They're both beatable by just simply blocking the hammer fist, fuzzy ducking super quick, standing up, and then blocking the mid. Very, very simple counterplay. There is no reason for you to eat this bullshit on round enders anymore. Get your fuzzy guard, and if he goes for the low, you're going to kill him for it, and if he goes for the mid, you kill him for it. So unfortunately, with this extra bullshit added in, it makes the counterplay significantly harder. But that's Heat for you. Heat just makes this game significantly harder to defend. These are Tekken 8 like, this is Tekken 8 right there. This is so... I hate this shit, man. God damn it. This is a classic example of Tekken 8. Okay, so before I close out the video, I do want to talk about one more thing. This is including the Heat fucking guard break with Paul, and this is a classic example of fucking horseshit Tekken 8 garbage, okay? Paul may be an honest character on paper, and he may be fairly low tier compared to the rest of the roster. Fair enough, yes, I agree. However, he's still Tekken 8 bullshit, okay? This guy is not exempt from that concept, because he has horseshit like this fucking guard break, okay? This guarantees a shoulder or a back 1-2 after that. And look how much fucking chip damage it does. So the proper counterplay here, there really isn't any proper counterplay. You have to just assume that he's going to guard break every time he goes for a down 1 in Heat, but he can still demo man. He can still do the not delayed death fist, which can fuck up your timing for the punish. Which means if you're too late, you could outright miss your fucking punish opportunity. And if you try to sidestep right here, yes, it beats out both the punches, the guard break, and the immediate punch, but then you eat the demo man. The defender now has to account for multiple options in this string. One of them's a fucking guard break that can significantly fuck you up. So, this is a cheap bullshit scenario that you to be in. It sucks that Paul has this. Please, Bandai Namco, guard breaks do not make this game viable. Like, they're so fucking broken. And they make it so that people are just collecting free damage. There's not really a whole lot the defender can do because you've got a lot more other shit to account for besides just the goddamn guard breaks all the time, right? There's other shit. So, you really have to fucking guess a lot of the time. And Bandai Namco needs to fix this. Guard breaks shouldn't be in Tekken. They're not supposed to be in this fucking game, and yet they're all over the fucking place. This piece of shit has one. I don't even think Paul is a piece of shit. I like Paul as a character. I think he's a cheesy bitch a lot of the time, and playing him versus when you're fucking Kazuya is a nightmare. But he's very, very Tekken 8. If I try to fuzzy guard here, I can still block that and launch it. I don't even get a punish for the death fist anymore because guess what? Heat makes his fucking down 1-2 minus 13 on block. It's a stupid fucking joke, man. Like, it's insane. I'd recommend just don't even have to think about this shit. Just get your 14 or 13 frame punish ready. Sidestep this right. Block, and then immediately go for your punish. Oh, fuck off. So yeah, as you see there, it is working, it is viable, but you still get clipped by the low there. So be very careful on rounds. At the end of a round, Paul is going to do this nonsense, and you very, very likely will die, and all he fucking did was press down 1. Because you're going to want to sidestep right block, and then see what he does, and try to get a punish after. And if he knows you're going to do that, then down 1-4 is going to clip you and potentially kill you if you've got like 20 points of health left, right? So, unfortunately, that's just the way of Tekken 8 right now. You can still fuzzy guard this scenario, but it's absurdly hard. When he's not in Heat, revert back to the other counterplay I was just discussing with the fuzzy guard, because you do cover both options, and the fist, the punch at the end, is minus 17, not minus 13, so you can go for your long-range punish and you get him every time. Perfect. And then you can also fuzzy guard the low, so you got both moves accounted for. But in Heat, if he presses down 1, sidestep right, and be very careful of that fucking low. It's super annoying. So, that's about it for Paul, though. Hope that helps. This guy is a fairly reasonable character at this point in time. I think there is a decent amount of counterplay for him. Remember that range 3 is the appropriate range to play against Paul. Keep him out a lot with all your best keep-out tools. Sidewalk him right at range 3. And then in his face, you want to sidestep to sidewalk right as well. A lot of his tools. Just be careful because he's got back 3 that'll catch your sidestep right and launch you. If you try to sidestep left to account for his back 3, then his down forward 2 can catch you and launch you. And guess what? Both those launchers are safe on fucking block. Yes, Paul has a safe down forward 2. Disgusting horse shit. Shouldn't be in the game either, but it fucking is. But yeah, that's it for Paul. Not a super egregious character, nothing super crazy busted about this guy except for the shit we just talked about with the Demo Man and Death Fist follow-ups after down 1 and Heat and the guard breaks. But that's not necessarily a Paul problem. It's more of a Tekken 8 issue all around that should be addressed for the entire game. So, I hope that helps. Much love. We'll see you on the next one.